Welcome back to another episode. And today's going to be a solo episode with me, myself, and I, the host, Olivia Gamber. And I'm going to be sharing how to compete at the top 1%, whether that's the C suite job opportunities or if you're selling yourself to high net worth C level, C suite, CEOs, owners, board members, PE firms. These are the top 1% in the world, and there's much more elite competition, much more higher standards for the skills required to influence these buyers, that these level of decision makers. And I'm going to be sharing my experience from really not only marketing to this group for the last decade, but I have them as my clients, whether they're CEOs who we're helping to place through our company Career Evolved, or they're the CEOs that we are setting meetings with and calling to share our services, our talent. We've done it all. And so I'm going to share what's working now, what's not working, and what you're going to want to shift to in terms of building the skill to be able to influence this audience. So, the first thing is if you're going to sell at the top 1%, you can't be speaking at in the weeds. This audience has limited bandwidth. Think of a leader that's running a complex business. There's six trains running on six different tracks, and those are constantly moving in their brain. And so you're asking for their undivided attention. So you want to make whatever you're saying clear, concise, and digestible. And sadly, so many people do the opposite because they operate under the assumption that the more this that they share, the more details, the more facts that they present, the more complex words or sophisticated language that they use, they think that that's going to be more influential, when it actually does the opposite. It completely dilutes their message. It becomes less clear. It becomes less digestible. And if somebody can't digest or understand, you've lost attention and you've lost certainty. So I say this over and over again to our clients at Career Evolve, but brevity transfers certainty. Say less better, because it actually takes way more mastery and a depth of understanding of your subject matter expertise to say it in less words. And what that does is it's so powerful because you're not trying to over explain and over convince. And when you are starting to ramble and share all the details and over communicate, that's a low competence trigger. And the more you oversell and over convince, you're creating doubt. Because if there's truly value there and there's true certainty behind that value, you don't need to oversell or over convince. It's obvious because of the value in the solution or the talents and the impact that you can make. So you really know who the real deal is when they are there to dissect, they're there to understand, and they're there to provide a clear and concise solution. And so that's what really resonates with this audience, because every year we're dealing with shorter and shorter attention spans, more advertising, more people pulling every which direction your attention is being split, especially as a high level leader, CEO, or decision maker. Your inbox is flooded. So if you've got that captive audience, you do not want to waste it by over communicating and diluting the power of your message. When you have a clear and concise value proposition, that is what will stick with that person's memory. And you cannot control whether or not that's relevant or not. But if you have a clear, concise, and relevant value proposition, you will be able to create demand for your skills, your service, your product. The second piece is on the opposite side of that. Most people are leading with all this information up front, They lead with their resume, they lead with a cover letter, and they immediately lose respect and attention. So when you come out the gate selling and trying to pitch or even present a resume, what you're saying is, I'm available, I'm available, I'm available. It's kind of like putting that banner on LinkedIn that says open to work. It seems intuitively smart. You want to let everyone know you're looking. But here's the problem with that. You're positioning yourself as a commodity. I need work. And at Career Evolve, we talk about this all the time, but it's about shifting that mindset to not only how you're treating yourself, how you're speaking about yourself, but also how you're marketing yourself. A highly sophisticated buyer does not care if you're looking. That offers no value to them. And there's no value in letting people know you're looking or leading with a resume, because your resume is packed with a bunch of qualifications and job titles and a history of your whole work history. You're now asking the busy person to do work by digesting all of that, when most of it's not even relevant to what their one or two burning pain points are, their business needs. And so starting there is where these deals happen, through conversation and demonstrating that value instead of trying to shove it in somebody's face out the gate by pitching out the gate and by really leading with a resume, leading with a brochure. It's like, hold on, you don't even know if this person's interested. You don't even know if they're relevant to your offer and what you do. So always being in that qualifying mode out the gate is so important. This is where so many people get it wrong, because 9 times out of 10, most people are in that more grasping energy of, I just want to get my message out. I just want to pitch. I just want to let them know I'm available, right? And this audience is going to be very turned off by that because they get pitched all day. That's what everybody's doing. So instead, when you lead with value and you're able to demonstrate that value through your ability to ask the right questions, to dissect and diagnose. I'm a highly sophisticated buyer. I'm a CEO who hires consultants and spends thousands of dollars and tens of thousands of dollars a month on advertising and all kinds of services. So as a sophisticated buyer, I'm always looking for the person that can actually dissect my business and properly diagnose my problems. Now, let's talk about this, because how do you actually do that? Because the real deal doesn't sell, the real deal demonstrates. And how we demonstrate is through the questions that we ask. Because before we can prescribe a solution or offer any really valuable counsel, we have to understand the problem and the symptoms and get to that diagnosis through a line of questions. So if you've been there hundreds of times before, you're going to know exactly what questions to ask. And you're going to be knowing what symptoms to look for. And you're going to be knowing where to go from there. And so simply by your ability to identify, diagnose, and dissect their business relevant to your business problem, that's how you're demonstrating value. And a resume cannot do that. A website cannot do that. A sales page cannot do that. This is about you showing the skill and the subject matter expertise. And the goal here with this approach is you must demonstrate that you understand their problem better than they do. And once you understand their problem better than they do, and you demonstrate that based on how you're communicating with them and asking the right questions, you become the only viable solution. Now, this is hard for people to grasp because it's breaking the old paradigm of I've got to pitch, I got to talk about my background, I got to talk about all my years of experience, I got to talk about all the amazing brands that I've worked for. And you know what? That's actually white noise because it's not relevant to them. And what they want to know is that you can take what their one or two burning issues are and you understand their vision and that you can deliver that. So a lot of times people are so busy trying to explain their phenomenal track record before they have really demonstrated that value. and made it relevant and allowed that person to experience what it would be like to collaborate, to partner, to work with you. And so that's one of the biggest shifts. And we see this all the time with even really sophisticated sales professionals. They have to break those old habits of pitching and jumping to the solution so soon before they've demonstrated, they've diagnosed properly. Because I see this all the time. People immediately pitch me, "Have you tried this?" I'm like, "Yeah, only 100 times. So now you're just wasting my time and I lose respect." So you don't want that. So the biggest key here is to really take your time to make sure you understand and do your due diligence on what their actual needs are, what they've tried, what worked, what hasn't worked, what do they believe is what is the cost of this problem not being solved? What's the urgency of it? Resources did they have available to solve it? And so as you uncover all of these things, it becomes really easy to demonstrate value, and it naturally and organically goes into them feeling excited because they feel you truly understand and that you truly have gotten to that depth of understanding to even provide clarity through the questions you're asking. Now, there's one more key that I want to hit on that I think is really overlooked when you're competing and selling against the top 1%. Now you have to remember at this level, everybody's qualified. There's so many people that can do it well and that are competing for that opportunity. So your qualifications, the ability that you've done it thousands of times, it doesn't even sell because everybody's saying that at this level. So then it becomes about your ability to really form that emotional connection with that leader. And from my experience working with C suite of some of the top companies in the world, they want to understand that you align with them and their values. And they want to feel like they are the center of your universe. These types of buyers don't just want to work with someone who wants this job. They want someone that wants to work in this job aligned with this mission for them. So that's the key. And so if you're not doing your due diligence to build a deeper rapport and a deeper relationship, getting to know their values, where they come from, what they stand for, what are they working on, what's their family like, where are they going on vacations, what are their interests, what are the causes that light them up, what is the purpose that drives them. If you haven't gotten in tune with that, you're going to have a lot of trouble closing deals because most of the people at the top are really values driven and very emotionally driven. And so if you haven't aligned yourself and attuned yourself with those values and what is truly driving them and why you want to work with them specifically and honoring them, then you're not going to close that deal. And they're very sophisticated buyers. So they're not as transactional. It's not going to just be, you could do the job, so I'm going to hire you, especially if it's somebody you're going to be working closely with and investing a ton of money in. As a business leader, I don't post any jobs because I don't want people that just want a job with me. I want people that align with my mission. I want people that align with me and my values, and people that are really committed to everything we stand for. That's that synergy. This is that fit and finish. It's the intangibles that really make or break these kinds of deals. And so we live in such a transactional world. And so it's these intangible energy, these connections, the emotional element, the depth of the relationship, because we have to remember at the end of the day, people want to do business with people they like. So would they want to get a beer with you? Would they enjoy speaking to you in their free time? Would it be fun? Do you have anything in common? Is there anything to connect on besides just work? And so these are the things that require social intelligence, intention, and really leaning in to get to know people on a deeper human level. It takes a lot of confidence because you got to get out of your head and proving yourself and focus on also building the connection. But these are the three shifts that I have found to be the biggest differentiators to close these deals, win business from other people, and also compete in the C suite for opportunities and win against the top 1%. And so I hope this was valuable. If you found it to be helpful and you want help breaking through and you want to be either in the C suite, the top 10%, top 1%, we can help you at Career Evolved. We've got a proven system, strategy, and framework to do so. Go check us out at careerevolve.com, and you can even schedule a free 1 hour consultation at careerevolve.com/schedule. And that's www.careerevolve.com/schedule. Thank you guys. I hope you got value from this episode, and I will see you next week.